Top TV, Truth of the People.
It is the 25th of June 2021. Welcome to this program that seeks to help you understand issues around you, as well as demystify, break down information, as well as dive into legal matters and call it the way we see it. This is Fact Check, and my name is Abel Omaseite. Remember, you can weigh in by sending in your tweets at Abel Omaseite using the hashtag FactCheck, and also you can tag Top TV at toptv.kenya. With me in studio is an aspiring member of County Assembly for Ngong Ward, and his name is Mbiriri Mwaura. Bwana Mbiriri, karibu sana.
Asante
How have
sana.
you been?
I have been good.
How is COVID treating you?
COVID imetupeleka, but at least for personally, I have to say that at least I've been able to sail through. Kwa hivyo mimi nashukuru sana. Can't complain. Yep.
And to get us straight into the show, I do understand you want to be a member of County Assembly. Why do you want to be an MCA, and what are the roles of an MCA?
For me personally, the reason as to why I was driven into politics, because growing up I wasn't interested in politics in any way. But having faced many problems as a young person growing up, especially the part where the unemployment used to pinch us very, as in it used to push us to limits where we were not able to, even after graduating, we were not able to secure good jobs. So we had to come up with ways of how we are going to make a change for ourselves as young people. So tukaona we are not going to lead in the back seat, but rather on the forefront. So that's where the decision came in, and I decided that going forward, we can't be complaining, waiting for things to change on their own, but rather we have to take that mandate and make the change that we desire ourselves.
That's why you want to be an MCA.
Exactly. That is why I want to be an MCA, and that is what drove me into politics. And one of the duties, rather the duties of an MCA, the three major duties are representation, legislation, and oversight. Yeah, we'll be diving into that legislation, oversight, and also just how MCAs conduct their day-to-day activities in the county assemblies. Now, speaking of becoming an MCA, there are those of the motion that if you want to contest for an electoral seat, be it a member of parliament or a member of county assembly, you must be a degree holder. Are you of the same opinion? Actually, yes, qualities have to be there, but for now, as the given setup of the Kenyan community, that is our Kenyan nation right now currently, I don't think having certificate is of essence as we speak, because even the education sector is not that much accessible to each and every person. So that will be limiting people to vie, and not only limiting just people, but a majority of the people. And once you deny people the right to represent, then you also need, this goes hand in hand with the right of voting. So if we deem people stupid enough to be representatives, then we ought to deem them stupid enough to vote. So if you deny them this one right of being representatives, then you have to deny them the other right of being voters. So that it is not applicable as we speak, because the ratio of degree holders to that of non-degree holders, I think non-degree holders overweigh those of who have degrees. And given that leadership is all about the society, and society is all about the masses, so we need to have the input of majority in decision making. And we are also a democratic public.
How do you convince those of the mind that at least these MCAs and MPs should at least have, if not a degree, at least a diploma? Because you've seen a number of MPs cannot express themselves, let's say using even English or maybe even Kiswahili language while they are moving a bill in the parliament chambers.
Okay, the thing is we need to separate eloquency from leadership. Even when Kibaki took power, he wasn't that eloquent enough. But when it comes to leadership, he was a great manager, and he did a lot of development for Kenyans, which we even today we are benefiting from those benefits, rather those projects that he he initiated. So for me, I don't think eloquency and you knowing English or Kiswahili better than a fellow person determines the kind of a leader you are. For me, it's all about the action. If you are able to push for an agenda and make it happen, and this agenda is of essence to majority of the people that you represent, then this is what should be the key factor to be considered when one wants to conclude if this person is a good leader or not. Because if we go into such details as you being able to articulate yourself, you know, people have different capabilities.
Yeah, I get your point.
Exactly.
And from that, it creates our question of the day. Do you think one should be a degree holder so as to contest to be an MCA or an MP? Do you think one should be a degree holder so as to contest in electoral seats, that is MCA and MP? Send in your views, or rather send in your tweets at abelomasete at toptv.kenya using the hashtag factcheck, and I will be sampling your views as the show goes on. Bwana Miriri, one of the roles of the MCA is to represent the views and opinions of people on the ground. We know MCAs, you are very close and attached to people on the ground. Do you think that has been the case, for instance, in Kajiado County?
For me, I think most leaders, whenever they get into those leadership positions, they usually get out of touch with the reality at the ground. And this is one of the things that, for me personally, I think I would like to change, where once I get into power, all my agendas need to be people-driven, where the interest of the people should come first, and those of my personal interest should come last. Or rather, maybe I should be the one to sort of align my interest with those of the majority, that is the people that I represent, my electorates. So once you get to align those interests, then you can maybe work on your self-interest and those of the majority in tandem.
But when aunties say that, there are those who say that these leaders come to us, talk to us, they make them feel that they are part of their plans, but once they get elected, they forget them. What will be so outstanding that you'll do, or rather be different from the others, that will make you outstanding as an aspiring MCA?
The thing is, usually that is a question that we leaders usually face, because that has been the trend, where whenever leaders come asking for votes, they're usually very good, and they tend to sort of, I don't know if I should say it's PR, they put in a bit of PR where they tend to pretend, but those are not they are not the people that they pretend to be. But for me personally, I think for me it's up to the electorates to be wise enough to be able to determine a leader who is only lying to them, and those who are indeed genuine. Because before even a leader comes to ask for a vote, there are some of the things that he must have probably done for the community. And from there is where you can pick points where if this person is integral enough, or this person is accountable enough. If he didn't meet those requirements at that lower level, then if you empower him to such an elective position, then probably the same thing will keep on repeating
itself. Speaking of representing wananchi, Top TV, some 3-4 weeks ago, we were in Ngong Ward, and we did a report on garbage collection. A number of residents are complaining that garbage collection management was not well done to the proper manner. As an MCA, or rather, when once elected as an MCA, what thing will you do differently so as to create a conducive working and living environment for Ngong Ward residents?
Actually, that is why we are saying you need to be inclusive, especially when it comes to wananchi. The agenda should be the one that prevails over other agendas. And given this fact, when it comes to, like, say, the takataka thing, right now as we speak, you know, once you get to engage the people, they are the ones who are going to tell you where the problem is. And you might find having a solution for that, it becomes much more easier, because even people are in a position where they can take care of their own garbage if you engage them in a way that is is required, because people tend to believe that, you know, we pay some kind of what will you call it? Some levies to the county government. So this directly implies that county government needs to take care of our garbage, which sometimes is not the case. So we need to have civic education, where we'll have to educate our electorates and our residents, where they have to be the ones to take care of their own garbage, especially people who live in residential areas. Those are the people who can be taking care of their own garbage, and the county government is only left with the public areas, where, let's say, the CBDs and business community. So with this small garbage coming from the CBD area and the business community, the county can effectively or efficiently take care of.
And from the small dump sites in Kajiado North constituency, we see that there has been a rise in the number of street children. I don't know if there are any measures you're going to introduce as an MCA that will help straighten their lives, like going to school, or rather, like introducing them to informal jobs. As in, what measures are you having in mind to help those street children, and also to curb the rise in the number of street children in Ngong Ward and Kajiado North constituency at large?
That is a very pertinent question, and thank you for that. The thing is, we've already started doing something about it. We have this group where we started as Watuangong WhatsApp group. Then we evolved to WAPI, which stands for War Against Poverty Initiative. We have our group leader. He goes by the name Steve Collins. And from that group, we, especially during this COVID time, we used to raise a couple funds from members. That is, and once we raise those funds, we would buy meals for the street kids and feed them. So with that, at least once these street kids are already fed, they could end up, you know, a hungry man is an angry man. So they could at least be able to think beyond just eating, and that will open up their thinking to an extent that they'll start thinking of how they can empower themselves and make themselves self-reliant. And even on top of us giving them food to eat, we also did a project where we were able to buy them these mkokotenis and these carriers for mizigo, the pull carts. So we were able to do that, and also so that was done with the intention of empowering them to an extent that they are self-sufficient, because we knew that we couldn't feed them forever. We have to get to a point where we can at least say that we empowered them. Now they can be able to go ahead and fend for themselves. But even on top of all that, back in 2019-2020, that is financial year 2019-2020, I was one of the people who proposed that the county government should put aside a fund where these people can be, an institution can be built up where these people can be taken in, provided with meals, rehabilitated, and then empowered with skills, TVT skills, where they can, at least once they are done with the rehabilitation, once they are released to the society once again, they'll now have some skills where they can use to fend for themselves.
Okay, I get your point. Dear viewer, remember our question of the day is, do you think one should be a degree holder so as to contest in electoral seats? Do you think one should be a degree holder so as to contest in electoral seats, that is MCA or an MP in the national level? You can weigh in by sending in your tweets at Abel Masete at Top TV Kenya. The hashtag is FactCheck. Now, Mbiriri, talking about the youth, I can see you're a youth guy, and there has been a rise also in how the youths are engaged in use of drugs, and that has made them out of order, because some have dropped out of school. Some have have been engaged into early marriages, and even others have gotten have been into depression questions, and also their mental health at large is not that stable. As a youth member of county assembly, what measures are you going to introduce in Ngong Ward so as to help these youth who are largely involved in use of drugs?
As I was saying earlier, and the good thing, even before I get into what I was saying earlier, the good thing is that already the county government has in place such a measure to curb such, because the revenue that they usually collect from this license known as liquor license, that revenue is usually, part of it is supposed to go into rehabilitating some of the youths around of this area, but it hasn't kick-started yet. So we are hoping that this coming financial year, the budget is going to be there, and we are going to use that budget to do the same. So we'll urge the county government to make sure that this budget is available and accessible to many, so that we can we can rather disseminate that same message to the people, to the parents who have such young youths who are addicted to drugs, so that they can have them come to the county government and get access those funds and get aid of the same. But long term, yes, we'll need to have a rehabilitation center funded by the government, even if it's for the entire Kajiado North constituency. We'll have to work together as the different representatives of the different 5 wards in Kajiado North, make sure that we have such an institution where these people can be rehabilitated, because I've been approached by many youths who really who intend to change, but they don't know which route or which path to follow. Exactly, given that rehabilitation is a costly engagement, and they don't have that funds to cater for themselves.
Mbiriri Mwaura calling it the way as he sees it. This is Fact Check. We are taking a short break, and see you on the other side of this break.
Top TV, truth of the people.
All right, welcome back. This is Fact Check with me, Abelo Masete. Remember, our question of the day is, should one be a degree holder so as to contest for electoral seats, that is MCA and MP? Should one be a degree holder so as to contest to be an MCA or an MP? Send in your thoughts at Abelo Masete at Kenya Top TV using the hashtag Fact Check, and I'll be sampling your views as the show goes on. With me in studio is Mbiriri Mwaura, who is an aspiring MCA for, I believe, Ngong Ward. Mwaura, let's talk about land. In Ngong, or rather Kajiado County at large, there has been a lot of issues concerning lands. Oh, this is my land, this is not my land. There's some elderly being grabbed land from their as their property. Now, what measures, or rather, what is the way forward to deal with these land issues?
Personally, I'm also a victim of the same, where my father's land was supposed to be conducted what is it called, a survey, and the surveyor was supposed to pick the demarcations as they were. You know, whenever by the time the surveyor was being sent to the ground, people had already fenced their homesteads, so he was only supposed to pick whatever is on the ground. But that didn't happen, so some of the parcels of lands were trimmed at the centers, some were enlarged, some were reduced to the size that they are not supposed to be. So this is a problem that is in Ngong, and not only in Ngong but in Kajiado as a county.
So what is the best solution towards that?
Exactly. So the best solution, because what I do believe is this, most of these problems are caused by corruption at the land registry, and this is the thing that we need to tackle first, because once corruption is dealt with, then you won't hear of this much cases, because most of the times there are people at the registry or at the land offices where who rather would like to make money out of their positions that they hold. So they are abusing their power. So these are the kind of things that we need to put in place, and it's a good thing that we already have the new online Ardhi Sasa, exactly, where now you don't even need to visit the offices for you to get details about your land or a certain parcel of land that maybe you need to acquire. You only need to go online, and all these details are there. Your phone. Exactly. So once one of the things that we can do is maybe digitalize these processes, so that you won't need to go through many people, where each and every office that you pass by, you need to have say a token for you to hand out for things to move at a pace that you'd like, or rather at a pace that is required for things to move on. So I think once we digitalize most of these processes, then people won't be in a position where they can exchange money. So you'll only need the system for you to go go on. And I'm pretty sure once we have a system in place, those people who will be having a password or access to that system will only be a few selected people who are held, who have a high rank in terms of position in the land offices. So I think that will curb corruption, and once we curb corruption, most of these things you won't hear of. Most of these problems arising.
Let's talk about a bit of national political matters about the Building Bridges initiative, which currently is in the Court of Appeal, and it will be dealt with heard on 29th and 30th of June this month, and also 1st and 2nd of August 2021. Now, Mbiriri, in one of the proposals laid out by the BBI committee is that counties were to be given additional funds from 15% to 35%. Are you of the mind that that is a good idea? And what if the BBI will not pass in the Court of Appeal, or rather it will fail to convince the judges that it was a bill that followed the right procedure so that it is enacted into law?
So for me personally, BBI seems like a Trojan horse, where from the outside, it has this good image of it, where it will lure you to want it. But once you get to the inside, now you'll get to know some of the hidden agendas. Because as for me, most of those things that I will approve as a leader to be implemented, most of them can be done without. They don't require constitutional change for them to be implemented. So for me, I'll say that the 35% that needs to be introduced, rather the 15% needs to be added to 35% as money that will be sent to the county governments. I think that is a very good move, because given that I'm one of the people who usually I'm at the ground level, where I'm dealing with people, and I can get to tell you that.
But Miriri, where is this money coming from? If some counties are complaining that they don't have funds to run their hospitals and pay the workers, where is this 35% coming from?
Exactly, that is a good question, because yes, indeed, even as we speak right now, the counties have not been in a position to pay their workers, and given that fact, that tells you that Kenya is struggling economically, and starting to add other commitments, financial commitments to the government isn't a good move. But yes, the 35%, it won't come. You know, if let's say if Kenya has 1 trillion and you give, you say you'll be giving 15% to the county governments, it is out of the 1 trillion. So if we say that the 15% is going to be topped up to 35%, we are not saying that the 1 trillion will change. The 1 trillion will remain constant, but now the funds that are going to be disseminated to the county governments is going to be topped up from 15 to 35 out of the 1 trillion. So meaning the only thing that will change is that the percentage that usually remains at the national level is going to reduce. That is what it means.
And also I do understand that the members of county assembly also to be given some funds to inject to some maybe business.
Exactly. What development fund? That is of essence. I'm in support of that, but that doesn't need a constitutional change. If we can only do that through either parliament or bylaws in the county assembly, we can also implement the same. Even as we speak, some of the counties usually already do that. They usually give out some funds to the county, to the ward level. Say like in Kajiado right now, there's usually that 30 million that is usually awarded to the ward level, and we usually have public participation during budget allocation period, and we usually give out the most prioritized projects that will need to be done unto our wards. And out of that 30 million, we usually come discuss on what needs to be done first, and maybe plan on priorities. Exactly.
And talking about boundaries, the independent IBC-led commission by Chebukati said that they don't have time to create new boundaries. That is in context to BBI proposing that 70 new constituencies shall be added. Do you think that Kenyans need more representation, or we are already overrepresented?
For me, we are already overrepresented, and that is one of the, now the previous question that you had asked, where will the money come from? Now here it's where it comes in, because when we add onto our representatives, the recurrent expenditure at the national level increases also. The budget increases for recurrent expenditure, and given that fact, already we are struggling paying our workers, paying, meeting our liabilities and our needs as a country, and debts. So you can imagine if we go ahead and increase on the workers that are supposed to be directly remunerated by the government. You know, it doesn't add up because we don't have those finances. So for me, I think we're already overrepresented, and given the fact that we already we went into devolution, and we had this leadership taken all the way from the national level to the grassroots level through the county governments, because now we have the MCA, who is a person who is covering a small area within a community, and now we don't need other constituencies per se for people to be able to for development to be able to reach their people. With this current setup, we already have enough, rather we already have a good setup in place, which can ascertain, rather can make sure that development from the national level will be able to reach Mwananchi at the grassroots level.
Yeah, devolution. Yeah, remember our question tonight is, we are asking, do you think one should be a degree holder so as to contest in electoral seats, that is MPA or a member of county assembly? Now, Mbiriri, as we wind up, I want you to look at that camera and talk to Wananchi in Ngong Ward. Why will you want to represent them in the county assembly, and what changes, what new things are you going to bring that will drive their life into a new level?
As for me, I think I'll tell the residents of Ngong that this time round we need to make a difference, and given the fact that we want a difference, then the difference has to stand from the way we do it, from the get-go. Because the moment the process is corrupted, then the end result will always be corrupted. And why am I saying this? All I'm saying is that come next election, let us not go for the handouts. Let us go for whatever a person stands for. The qualities that a person has as a leader. Those are the kind of things that we need to look into. So let us not play party politics. Let us not play tribal politics, but let us focus on what a person stands for and the qualities that that person has. Because we want to go into an era of which even independent candidates will have a say in the elections, and they'll be in a position to secure the seats, the electoral, the leadership seats come these other elections. So that is what I can tell the people of Ngong, and I'll be vying come 2022 for the MCA seat, come to for Ngong Ward, and hopefully we will we'll have this journey together, and at the end of it we'll become victorious.
Mbiriri, thank you very much for coming in our studio.
Asante sana for having me.
And as I usually say, you see, this is our generation, this is our country, and we as the youth need to be at the front line to drive change into our country. Thank you very much, dear viewer. This has been Fact Check with me, Abel Omasete. Remember, every Wednesday we do this live here on Top TV. You can follow us on all our social media platforms at Kenya Top TV. And as we usually say, this is planet Earth, where you only have two choices, either to the left or to the right.
True.
You can go to the left where there is nothing right, or you can go to the right where there is nothing left. My name is Abel Omasete. See you soon.